Imagine a man waking in the middle of the night, heart pounding, staring at the ceiling as the ghosts of years past gather around his bed. He can see the promotion he chased and the face of the child he missed saying their first word. He can hear the laughter of old friends fading, replaced by the hum of a phone vibrating with messages that never mattered. In that silence, something ancient stirs, a voice from a time before his, a wisdom that watched thousands of men make the same choices and carry the same regrets. He realizes that the lessons he needed were written long before him. He realizes they were always there, whispered by sages whose bones have long returned to the earth. He realizes his time is thinning. This is the moment when the truth is ready to pierce through the armor of pride. If you're listening, it's because some part of you knows you don't want to wait until the end to learn what too many men learn too late. The first lesson is a mirror. You will spend years defending a version of yourself that doesn't exist. You'll call it strength, you'll call it leadership, you'll call it standards, and one day you'll realize it was fear dressed in expensive clothing. Pride will convince you that admitting fault is surrender, but look closely. The man who cannot say, "I was wrong," has already surrendered to his own ego. The sages warned us, when you refuse to correct your mistake, you secure a second mistake, the kind that calcifies into character. The man who humbles himself early grows a spine of truth. The man who deflects, blames, and performs grows a shell that keeps love out. One day, late in life, you'll hear an old message from a friend you lost, a partner you hurt, a child you distanced. You'll feel the weight of words you never said. "I'm sorry. I was wrong. I didn't see you." If you're listening now, say them before the years turn to stone. The second lesson is water. You will try to force the river to run faster. You will wake before dawn. You will grind. You will justify neglect with slogans. You'll call your exhaustion noble and your impatience ambition. But the river does not obey. Nature is honest. It doesn't hurry, and yet everything, in time, is accomplished. Men spend decades fighting currents they could have learned to ride. They sprint past their own lives, chasing a horizon that turns out to be a mirror reflecting their own restlessness. The wise ones taught this in parables. The bamboo bends and doesn't break. The oak that refuses to yield snaps. If you push what should be nurtured, it will resist. If you nurture what should be pushed, it will wilt. Learn the pattern, the rhythm under all things. Pace is not the enemy, force is. Flow is not passivity, it is precision. The man who understands when to act and when to wait never wastes motion. He meets the right moment with the right strength. He builds quietly, and everything arrives. The third lesson is emptiness, not absence, but space. The day will come when the titles lose their shine. The applause fades, the certificates curl, the salary numbers stop thrilling you. You'll realize that your identity has been stitched to things that cannot hold you. The sages asked a question long ago. When your mask falls, who remains? Men spend their fiercest years polishing masks and neglecting faces. They lock themselves to reputations, then wonder why their soul feels like a tenant, not a home. There's a story of a man who dreamt he was a butterfly and woke unsure which was real. The point is not confusion, it is permission. What if the self you defend is a dream? What if you let go and what remains is lighter, truer, more alive? When you stop clinging, you begin to hold. When you stop performing, you begin to be. Too late, many men discover they had everything except themselves. The fourth lesson is action. Talk is a narcotic. Plans can seduce. Men fall in love with their intentions and forget that a life is only built from things done. The sages cut through the fog with a blade of simplicity. Speak modestly, act relentlessly. The world is heavy with men who told impressive stories about tomorrow, and light with men who quietly built something today. Your children won't remember your speeches. They will remember your presence at the table, your hand on your shoulder, your consistent patterns. Your partner won't remember your grand proclamations of change. They will remember whether you kept your word across months, not minutes. Your craft will not grow from vision boards. It grows from the hours you stack when nobody is watching. When you die, your legacy won't be what you planned. It will be what you repeated. If you're listening, count fewer promises and more reps. The fifth lesson is enough. The world will persuade you that your thirst is the engine of achievement. It will sell you ladders with no roofs and crowns that never fit. You will try to fill a cup with a hole in the bottom. The sages say, knowing enough is the only way to have enough. Contentment isn't apathy, it's sovereignty. When you can say, this is enough, you regain control over your life's energy. You begin to design, not drift. You choose fewer, richer moments instead of many thin ones. You become selective with your battles. You realize that abundance isn't a pile of things, it's the absence of frantic hunger. The tragedy is men who learn this late look back and see a life of chase instead of a life of depth. The gift is learning it now and trading more for meaning. The sixth lesson is time across generations. A man who thinks only in quarters will trade his children's laughter for a report that nobody reads twice. A man who thinks in decades plants trees. A man who thinks in centuries teaches people. The sages place the weight of a life beyond one body. Your reach is not measured by how far you go, but by how far your goodness travels. Teach the thing you wish someone had taught you. Mentor without keeping score. Serve the neighborhood that raised you. Suffer a little today to ease someone's tomorrow. Men often realize late that their true wealth was the people they avoided investing in. The beauty is that the smallest seed, a conversation, a correction, a moment of patience, can outlive you. The seventh lesson is stillness. You will spend years declaring that you don't have time to be still. Ironically, that belief steals more time than stillness ever could. The sages honored silence not as escape, but as calibration. Without stillness, you forget your coordinates. Without stillness, you mistake noise for direction. Sit, breathe, listen. The world will move, your fear will shout. Hold your center long enough to tell the difference between urgency and importance. A man who learns stillness young navigates storms without capsizing. A man who learns it late remembers how many decisions were made in panic and how many bridges burned to warm hands for a minute. The eighth lesson is presence. Happiness doesn't arrive when conditions finally align. It appears when attention does. Men often chase joy like prey, set traps for it, corner it with plans. But joy is a wild thing. It walks into rooms where it's welcomed, not hunted. It sits with you when you taste your food. It laughs when your child laughs. It rests in the little ordinary holiness of a quiet morning. The sages warned against striving for happiness because striving keeps you outside of it. Pay attention long enough to be surprised. Be surprised long enough to be grateful. Gratitude is not a trick, it is the nervous system of joy. If you learn this late, you'll realize you outran blessings trying to catch them.
The ninth lesson is mortality. Men live like they have a second draft. They rehearse, they delay, they save the big I love yous and the brave I forgive yous and the honest I need help for some future, safer version of themselves. Then a diagnosis arrives, or a funeral, or a quiet moment with a hand that once felt indestructible. The sages spoke plainly. When you understand you have one life, the second begins. Let the realization that you will end be a kindness to your present, not a threat to it. It will soften your voice. It will sharpen your choices. It will make you gentle with the people who carry your heart. It will make you bold with the risks that align with your soul. If you learn this late, you will wish you learned it while you still had enough courage to choose differently. If you learn it now, you will cry, and then you will begin. The 10th lesson is alignment. You can succeed at the wrong thing. You can build a staircase against the wrong wall and climb beautifully. The world will applaud, and your chest will feel empty. The sages suggested a question that cuts through glamour. Does this path make me more human? Not more admired, more honest, more compassionate, more whole. Does your work deepen you or only display you? Does your relationship expand your capacity to give or only validate your desire to be seen? Does your discipline bring you closer to the life that your last day will wish you lived? Eliminate what looks shiny but steals your center. Choose the kind of wins that don't require you to abandon yourself to obtain them. The 11th lesson is companionship. Men often choose independence as armor. They call isolation freedom until their voice echoes. The sages understood that the self is not a closed system, it's a bridge. Build friendships that confront you lovingly. Keep elders who compress decades into sentences. Be the kind of friend who shows up not just with solutions, but with presence. Ask for help before the mountain breaks your back. Give help before someone has to ask. Late in life, men realize that achievement without witnesses is loneliness. Let others carry your story while you carry theirs. The 12th lesson is forgiveness, of others and of yourself. The hardest apology is the one you never make to the person in the mirror. You will replay the scenes where you failed. You will assemble a museum of regret and charge yourself admission daily. The sages pressed a tender truth. Correction without compassion turns into cruelty. Learn from the pain, then release the whip. Forgive others not to excuse them, but to release yourself from the job of jailer. Forgive yourself not to erase responsibility, but to reclaim your ability to build. Many men learn this at the end and taste peace for a week. You can learn it now and taste peace for the rest. The 13th lesson is simplicity. Complexity can be camouflage. Men multiply tasks, devices, commitments, but beneath the tangle, there is often a fear of facing the essential few things that matter. The sages prized simplicity because it reveals. Choose fewer goals and give them honest attention. Choose fewer possessions and give them daily use. Choose fewer words and make them true. Simplicity is not poverty, it is clarity. A simple life is not a smaller life, it is a deeper one. Late learners discover that complexity stole their presence. Early learners discover that simplicity amplifies their power. The 14th lesson is discipline as devotion. Discipline is not punishment, it is love expressed through structure. If you love your craft, you will visit it daily. If you love your health, you will protect it with choices. If you love your family, you will guard time with them like a temple. The sages taught that ritual is how the invisible becomes visible. Turn your values into rituals, repeated, protected actions. Your life will become legible to you. You will recognize yourself in your calendar. Men who discover this late realize their days were filled but not faithful. Early learners discover that simplicity amplifies their power. The 15th lesson is curiosity. Cynicism ages the soul faster than time. The sages played with paradox and laughed at certainty. Keep questions alive. Ask, what does this pain teach? What does this moment require? What is the kind thing here? Curiosity keeps you elastic. It makes you a student of your own life instead of a judge of everyone else's. When you stop being curious, you begin repeating yourself. When you begin repeating yourself, life feels like a rerun. Learn until the last morning. And then there is the final lesson that binds the others. Choose now. Not next week, not when the pressure lifts, not after the project, not after the children are older, not after the world understands you. Choose now. Apologize now. Pause now. Begin now. Put the phone down now. Hold the child now. Call the parent now. Drink water now. Go for a walk now. Say I love you now. Write the first page, now. Return the kindness, now. Not because urgency is romantic, but because reality is honest. You do not know how many pages remain. Picture the man again in the night, staring at the ceiling. He hears the old words. He feels the years gather. He breathes. He stands up. He walks to a window and opens it. The air is cool. The city is quiet. He remembers a promise he hasn't kept. He whispers a name he hasn't said in a while. He decides, small, unglamorous, immediate. Tomorrow is not guaranteed, but the next minute is a door. He steps through. If you're here, if you can feel the weight and the invitation, do not let this be another beautiful message that dies in your notes app. Let it be a pivot. Let it be the moment your first life ends and your second begins. Live so that the lessons do not arrive as a eulogy, but as companions. Live so that when the night comes, it finds you honest, gentle, brave, and present. And when your final morning arrives, let it meet a man who did not wait.